Welcome to iPad Pros, the show all about using your iPad to be productive and get work done. I'm Tim Chen, host of the show.
Hello there. Welcome back to another episode of iPad Pros. We're joined once again by Riley Hill of slatepad.org to dive into the announcement from Affinity. You may remember many weeks ago, a month ago probably at this point, they turned the knob to make all their apps for free on the iPad. And we were kind of curious what that might mean for the future of these apps. And we have an answer. So today's bulk of the episode will be diving into that. Plus, Riley discovered how to actually get the 120 hertz working on his M5 iPad Pro, which we were kind of baffled why that wasn't working last time. So those are kind of what's up for discussion in this episode coming up. As a reminder, you can support this podcast over at patreon.com/iPadPros or by subscribing in Apple Podcasts. With that, here's my discussion with Riley. Enjoy. Welcome back to the podcast, Riley. How you doing?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Had some heart-wrenching baseball moments this week, but beyond that, it's been a good week.
Nice. That's good. That's good to hear.
So, Affinity. I think we should start there. What do you want? Do you want to start with the display kind of?
We can get that out of the way real quick.
Yeah. Let's dive into kind of your trip down buying thousands of HDMI cables and adapters, and tell me on the journey you went on to get this actually working with your monitor. So we're talking about basically the M5 iPad Pro added the ability to output to external monitors at 4K 120 hertz. Very cool.
Yes.
And very exciting, but may not be as straightforward as many may have hoped.
Yeah, so every review I read that tested this, everyone seemed to be using a monitor with USB-C on it. My gaming monitor, which is my only high refresh rate monitor, does not have USB-C. It has DisplayPort, and it has two HDMI 2.1 ports.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously I would need some kind of adapter to get the high refresh rate working. I started with HDMI, even though I kind of knew that'd be the trickiest, because I think even since like the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S have come out, like the definition of what qualifies as HDMI 2.1, I think is more liberal than it used to be. So
Sure.
I bought an adapter from a well-known brand that claimed to support HDMI 2.1. An adapter HDMI to USB-C. Plug that in. I get 4K, but only at 60 hertz.
Okay.
So that was fun. So I tried a couple different cables. That was my first thought, right? Make sure I had a 2.1 cable. Used the one that came with my PS5. Still nothing. Still just 60 hertz. So then I went and bought another adapter. This time I bought a cable. I usually prefer cables to adapters.
I like cables that are basically adapters. Like it's a Lightning to USB-C cable. I have one of these for my AirPods Max, so I basically don't need an adapter. I just have a USB-C cable that plugs right directly into power bricks that are USB-C. Stuff like that. Yeah.
That's the preference for sure. So I bought a DisplayPort to USB-C cable, and this supports DisplayPort 1.4. I think there might be a DisplayPort after that. I don't know if there's a DisplayPort 2.
I'm amazed DisplayPort is still a standard that's existing, to be honest.
It's supposedly I've been told it's the better one for gaming in terms of just that HDMI is often more limited, or maybe it's more patented or something. I don't know. Anyway, so I bought the cable, plugged that in, and same thing. 4K resolution, but only 60 hertz. And now I'm incredibly confused because one of these should work. I have one of these LG monitors that has like a dual mode that supports it'll go up to like 480 hertz at 1080p or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
So I flipped on that mode just for giggles, and of course it dropped down 1080p, but I did get 120 hertz. So I'm like, okay, this isn't completely broken. So my next stop was plugging the monitor back into my Windows PC and then just looking at the resolutions it presented. And I noticed it didn't give me the option of 120 hertz at 4K. It gave me like 90 hertz, and then it gave me like 144, and then 240 or something, but no 120. And which I thought was strange. And the iPad, apparently needs that resolution defined. Like it can't, you know, that needs to be there for it to find.
Yeah.
So that was strange. And so I started messing with like all these different utilities on the PC to try to get the monitor to do 4K 120. There's like an NVIDIA utility. There's
Okay.
all these other things I was trying to figure this out. And eventually I started Googling stuff and ended up on a random Reddit thread that's completely unrelated. But they mentioned something called DSC, which is display stream compression. I get the S wrong. Um, I think it's display stream compression. It's probably not going to be. Um, yeah, display stream compression. Okay. And basically what that is, and I guess for context here, um, when you go into my monitor settings and there's like an input configuration setting, and basically it displays all of my different DisplayPort options that are available. And so it said like DisplayPort 1.2, DisplayPort 1.4, then DisplayPort 1.4 with DSC. And that display scale stream compression is basically an algorithm that makes it so you can drive higher resolution and higher refresh rate. You can provide that signal um, over a more limited amount of bandwidth. Basically,
Mm-hmm.
it's helping you to drive a better picture without like needing two display port cables or something like
Right.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is my understanding. But apparently, DSC doesn't work perfectly with every device, according to this random Reddit thread. So I'm like, let me try turning this off. And so I turned it off, went back to my Windows PC, and wouldn't you know it, 4K 120 shows up along with a bunch of other resolutions. Um, and so then I plugged the cable back into the iPad and finally got everything working. So the trick for me was DisplayPort without DSC. I'm not exactly sure why HDMI never worked. I feel like it should. I bet if I
Mm-hmm.
bought a few more adapters, I would eventually find one that worked, but I was kind of over. I have too many adapters now as it is. I should probably return some.
You definitely
But
should.
yeah, but that's what it was for me is DSC over DisplayPort. So that is just a heads up if you to get the M5 at some point and your monitor doesn't have USB-C, this may be something you need to be aware of. Because it's my understanding that if the monitor support has a USB-C port, what it's doing is DisplayPort over USB-C. So I think DisplayPort just may be the key across the board, but
Hmm.
that's how I got it working.
Amazing.
That was
Amazing.
that was my Friday night.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Whew. Yeah, monitors are funny. I've got this Sony one that I love, and it can be finicky. Like, it's like no input detected. It's like,
hmm
it's hooked up. It's powered on. Why don't you see this guy? Please talk. Sometimes I have to power cycle it. Like, let me yank the physical power from this display,
mm
and then and only then it'll see my PlayStation 5 or my MacBook, headless MacBook Air or whatever, and it can take a full power reboot of the monitor.
Oh
I
yeah.
really want to get like a smart outlet for the monitor so I can just like reboot it easier. It's weird. I mean, people talk about rebooting the Apple monitors too.
Yeah. Those smart strips are so expensive though for what you get.
They
Like
really
some of the
are.
ones I looked at, the power, I forget which company it was, but it was like $80 and there's only three outlets on it, and it's like, ugh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, I'm a little annoyed Apple hasn't provided. There's like no guidance on connecting a monitor, like the high refresh rate monitor, to your iPad Pro. Like if there are things you need to look out for, nothing.
Right.
So
Yeah, they should have
that
like
was a little frustrating.
some like tidbits as to how it works better.
Hmm.
Okay, so for what was the sorry, say it again. What was the
Hmm.
final solution there? It was
DisplayPort without DSC.
okay. So you had the right stuff, just the monitor settings were not
Hmm.
clicking.
And my monitor doesn't let me set. I can't independently set the resolution or the refresh rate. So I could
Okay,
basically turn on that dual mode, but that otherwise it's up to the computer to tell it what to do. So.
gotcha. And now that you got this working,
Hmm.
you notice it being 120, like scrolling is
Oh
cool,
yeah,
and like it's good. That's a good
yeah,
update. Yeah.
yeah. I'm a little annoyed at that because that's I don't usually usually use my gaming monitor just for gaming, but you
Yeah.
absolutely do feel that like
Right. Because
it is very very
You have the
noticeable.
Apple display, which is 60 hertz.
Hmm. And that's been fine. I
Mm-hmm.
mostly just write code on it, so it's like whatever. But yeah, it was very noticeable. The other thing I will say about that is I didn't bring over my Thunderbolt dock, so I was plugging in directly to the monitor,
Okay.
and boy, does that kill your battery if you're not charging it. Like
Yes, it
it
would.
hit it
Oh
hard.
yeah. Because that would definitely.
Yeah, no, it was pretty bad.
So
So I ended up.
you need a second Thunderbolt dock.
I really,
Those are like
I,
$300 though, right? $200.
they are.
Have those
Yeah, they're
gone down in
still.
price? What are they? 150,
I
200.
The last one I bought was like something like 250. It was a Thunderbolt 3, and we're what on Thunderbolt 5 now. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe you could get a Thunderbolt 3 dock for cheaper. Uh, who knows? There's the whole, and I linked to this in the blog post I wrote about it, but there's this whole apparently thing with like Apple computers and like getting HDMI 2.1 working over an adapter, like with the USB-C ports, that apparently may or may not work. Is like, I don't know why. And I guess you don't
Mm-hmm.
need to because the MacBooks have HDMI. At least the MacBook Pros have HDMI ports, so it's not less of a problem, but it's just kind of a mess.
Yeah.
Just I don't know.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
But it's working now. Every now and again I'll plug it in and use it over there. Um, but yeah, just a heads up to those potential M5 iPad Pro buyers. Which I gotta say one other thing about the Pro that's upsetting me in a good way.
Uh-huh.
I think it's been mentioned. I think I said in the press release the storage is up to 2 times as fast, and I think it was Jason Snell in his review said it actually supporting like PCIe 5 or something. Um, this thing feels snappier just generally than my M4. Like,
That's
and I don't.
dangerous.
It is, and I moved over my iCloud backup, so it should be largely. I don't know if it's just because it's a new device, but I'm like I can actually feel the difference just moving around this thing. Like
And you got the bigger
that's
small one for the M5, the small one,
I
right?
got the small one. Yeah.
You, yeah, I have the big M1 still, and I got my small M4. That's all I use these days. M4 and M5 seems much smaller of a
It
jump,
is.
but
I did.
it's yeah.
I did a. I'm slowly collecting just like export times for my review. Still putting together my M5 review, and like just the delta in export times between the M4 and the M5 is something like 30 seconds right now. Like it's not a
Hmm.
huge difference.
Right.
But like just even Final Cut, these last couple updates on my M4 can get laggy, but it feels so good on the Sim 5. Like it's feeling expensive.
How much storage did you get in the M5?
I got 512.
Okay, and your bigger one is a terabyte, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's another reason to use the M4 because you have more buffer there.
Yeah. And my intention once I'm done with the review is to go back to the M4 as my primary. Man, this feels so smooth. Like
You just
it's
have to put it out of your head that
I have to because I can't. I don't. It's gonna be a hassle to sell my M4 because it's. I mean, I spent so much money on it. I can't.
I would
I have
not.
to recoup some of that.
I would just rough it out with the M4. I mean, come on, you can't keep doing this every time.
I
Getting
can't.
both of them. They're
I can't.
yeah.
It's
No.
but it is noticeable. I haven't quite pinned down why, but it definitely feels more responsive. So I guess the 12 gigs of RAM comes in handy because I can.
Oh, for sure.
It's you know it makes more of those productive workloads perform a little bit better. But yeah, no, still having the M5. It's a great update for the right use. Someone who's probably around the M1. Like if you're upgrading from like an M1 iPad Pro, maybe you might
Yeah,
want to be
or an
looking at the
M2.
M5. Or older iPad Air or base iPad. If you're ready to
Hmm.
step up to the Pro, obviously the M5 is the way to go. And I haven't seen a ton of like deals on the M4s, which I was kind of hoping for because that would also be
Yeah.
a good option, right? If you were
Right.
upgrading from an older iPad, just getting the OLED display by itself is its own kind of wonderful
Right.
upgrade.
Yeah. I wonder if Best Buy will have some Black Friday deals to wipe out the rest of their inventory.
I've been keeping an eye out for that for sure.
As you talk about monitors, I had it. I remembered back in college, I I lusted after the $3,000 30-inch Apple Cinema display. And I was just on eBay just now. $350 for a good condition one.
Those things, I don't know what the resolution is, but you can occasionally see people that still use them or read about it, and they're like,
Yeah, it's a
"This thing is still good."
DVI connection. I'm not sure if there's a way to hook up DVI to iPad these days. You're not going to get your
Oh
120
boy,
hertz. It is a great
yeah,
design. It is a great design, that monitor. It's very clean.
it's silly because that's most of the reason I wanted the studio display is because Apple monitors are usually just very well designed.
Right.
Of course, mine is against the wall, so I never see it, but like
Sure. Yeah.
it's the build quality is. You pay a lot for it, but it's good not to have a creaky monitor. I don't know. It's
I agree. Yeah.
in my mind, it's cool.
It's cool. I ended up not getting one for my main monitor because I multi-purpose. I want multiple inputs.
Yep.
I've got all sorts of stuff hooked up to it.
No, that totally
Yep.
makes sense.
That's why, yeah. I don't know. Gaming monitors in my mind. If you play games at your desk or whatever, just get a gaming monitor and hook up your iPad or Mac to it as well. It's like,
And there
yep,
are more and more OLED monitors out there too. If you want, if that's the way you want to go too. So I mean, you could. My gaming monitor's OLED, and it was still cheaper than the studio display. So it's
yep.
like,
Mine was I think around 900, and it's
yeah, yeah,
the M1 iPad Pro display technology. We got the zones, and they look
nice.
good. The zones look good in this thing, and it's got the fast refresh rates and all that good stuff. So, anyways,
Yes.
that's monitor talk. Now on to Affinity,
Yeah.
which, yeah, as I mentioned at the top of the show, they recently made all of their iPad apps free. And we were wondering what's going on here. This could be bad or not.
Yeah.
They recently got purchased by Canva. By recently, probably like a year ago. I forget when exactly.
Something like that.
Canva's got money. Big company. So their big announcement was that the new app is just going to be called Affinity. It's a free application. No in-app purchases. None of that. The only thing that is behind any kind of paywall or subscription thing is their AI stuff from Canva. Canva AI is directly integrated into the Affinity app. But if you don't want the AI stuff, totally free app. Nothing you can spend money on. You do need a free Canva account to log in the one time, But after that, you can actually use it offline and all that, and it doesn't complain like Adobe probably does, I'd imagine. Um, and if
Yeah.
you did purchase V1 or V2 of Affinity apps, they're going to be giving you some fonts, which they look pretty cool. I don't know the value of the fonts, but they were like in the announcement, they were like, so normally with upgrades and stuff, you would give a little discount to people, but there's no way to discount a free app. So we're going to do this for our current customers. So that's a cool little gesture they're doing.
I wonder if they'll be using the official font APIs on iPad OS that like no app uses.
Exactly right. No, yeah. Those font book apps are still very useful to install the fonts the old school way. Um, the Affinity app is now available on the Mac, so you can download this and start using it there. And it'll be on iPad next year, at least in beta. They're working on it. And it looks like a really solid update it's all unified publisher, designer, and photo into one app, which is cool because before I struggled like, do I go with this app or that app? Same save data, you can just open it in the other app, but it's kind of, it was a little confusing there. The thing I think I appreciate most about this update, if you just look at the interface of this app, the menu bar, the icons, the menu bar, it seems like I might not get as lost as I once did. And you can just drag stuff out of there that you don't use. You can create all sorts of different setups. So you could have like, let me just have my 5 icons for this one task I do, call it like whatever, thumbnail creator. And you can have these different kind of user interface setups that you design yourself, which is neat. That seemed to be like, as far as like, especially on iPad, where it's like hover is great with the Apple Pencil to see what this icon is, but I don't know. What were your takeaways so far with this?
Oh boy. It is interesting, first of all, just to see the pendulum in software swing back and forth, where it's like we're going back to everything in one monolith app, whereas it seems like a few years ago it was like breaking down everything into smaller, focused apps, and just
Mm-hmm.
kind of we're going back and forth, um, which is funny. But
Yeah.
the thing I loved about the Affinity apps, which I use today, with the exception of Publisher, and I should probably look at that. Maybe I can use it for something. But is that by and large the interface isn't really simplified, which can be somewhat intimidating. But often iPad apps are cut down from their Windows or Mac OS version, and these felt like Affinity took them seriously, like they're serious tools. And
They're
um,
basically the desktop apps
yeah,
on the iPad, which,
exactly.
yeah, couple people do that. Adobe's not one of them. They do not. Uh,
We have Premiere on iPad now.
do we?
It's not
Do
Premiere.
we
It's not
really?
Premiere.
By
It's not even
name, by
close.
name only, right?
Yeah. Um, so I'm. It'll be interesting. I'm a little annoyed. The iPad version isn't ready to go, but obviously, these things take time. Most of their customers are obviously going to be on desktop, so it makes sense to prioritize that. And hopefully, it won't be too long next year before we see
Mm-hmm.
the iPad version. Um, the whole free thing. They'd mentioned. It's so sad. We're so just trained now to assume the worst, right? But
We really are.
the, so it's hard not to be just incredibly cynical about it. But I'll take free for now. Free is fine. They say they're not going to use your content to train AI. Like they're trying to be good stewards here. Basically, all they have to do is look better than Adobe, which isn't very hard. But by
Mm-hmm.
making it free, they're going to hopefully be able to capture a lot of that kind of uh, prosumer indie. Like, I don't want to spend a bunch of money and get locked into an Adobe subscription type of creator who can, by it from what it looks like, just pick up these tools and go. And for the basics and a little bit more than that.
Yeah, if you want the AI stuff, Pro looks to be 120 a year, so $10 a month. Which, if you're heavily using those if those AI tools, the image stuff, and what it can do, which I think it could probably do some cool stuff there if you're into that. If you're not, it's free. But yeah, $10 a month versus that. No, what Adobe? I should look at what Adobe costs.
I know a buddy of mine tried to temporarily get into the Adobe tools. I think maybe Premiere or something. I don't know what he wanted, but then he tried to cancel, and then it's like, oh, I can't cancel without
It costs
paying.
money to cancel. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, Jesus Christ, like, so they just have to look better than Adobe, and like they're doing good.
Yeah, $70 a month for Creative Cloud Pro, or $10 a month for one app.
Yeah. So yeah. um, I'm looking forward to trying this out though. I make pretty heavy use of Designer, and to a lesser extent Photo. Um, so I'm happy those tools are free and not immediately going away.
Mm-hmm.
As you might imagine, especially once the new app comes out, the old versions won't be getting updates. But
They'll continue to work as long as the OS doesn't break it.
right. So I'm happy to continue with the tools as they are right now. But yeah, this obviously could have gone much worse. This announcement.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
I mean,
happy at least now.
I mean, I in my head, oh, the new apps are gonna be subscription based, right?
Yeah, and they were going to try to dress it up, but ultimately it's going to be pay us, $10 a month and to get the same thing you had before. But they didn't do that,
They did
so
not. I guess we can thank Canva and all their money, and this is just a
yeah.
perk of being a Canva user, I guess. Yeah.
And hopefully this works, so they don't have to, turn those dials to make it more of a subscription app.
Yeah, and they said in the
The
video, the announcement, that when new features come out, that'll just be included for free as well. They did say that.
They did. Whenever someone says free forever, I'm like, ugh, I feel like that doesn't exist. That doesn't actually exist. Like, you can't,
It's
free forever.
the Canva
It
Pro
is
people
free.
are funding it, I guess.
Yeah.
And
I
I
feel
think
like
they
free
also,
forever.
I think they just have a fire under the butt against Adobe and just want to,
Sure.
I don't know, do something
I
different.
mean, competition's good, right? This is what it gets you. Things,
Totally.
by wanting to go after Adobe, like we're going to benefit at least for now, as
Mm-hmm.
users. So can't be too upset at that.
One cool thing is EPUB export is finally a part of the tools. So that's new. That was lacking from the old apps.
Nice.
So you can make I don't know how fancy EPUB can look, because when I think EPUB, I think of like text versus like a publisher document or something.
Well, Apple's always done EPUB, right, for
They have,
iBooks.
yeah.
And I know during those first couple years when they were actually interested in it and they were like, you should, you should include videos and all this stuff in your. So I don't know if like that was part of the EPUB standard or if that was something Apple developed custom in iBooks Author back in the day or how that worked. But I assumed that video is part of the standard or
Mm-hmm.
supporting video. Or I'm not exactly sure,
Yeah.
but that is pretty cool too that they're including EPUB. These have been, like you said, these have been really they're serious tools, and you can go really far just sticking with Affinity. And it's a great option right now while we're still waiting to see what Apple's going to do with Pixelmator and Photomator, Pixelmator Pro, and
That has me seriously concerned. Much more
so
than what was going to go with Affinity. Oh man,
yeah,
I am
yes,
so concerned about the future Pixelmator and Photomator and all that. Because I love Photomator. Photomator is by far like the best photo like editing tool I have on my iPad. If that goes away and they just like put some of the stuff into the Photos app, that's going to be horrific and so sad.
there were rumors. I know we don't really talk about rumors, but someone had found. I think it was last week. Someone found some app IDs that seem to be for iPad apps, and I think one of them was Pixelmator Pro, like an iPad version,
Okay.
making making it seem like there would be a potential for
If that
Pixelmator Pro on
happens, that would
iPad.
be a very good sign that Apple's not going to ruin this thing.
Um, yeah, no, I would love to see
See,
that.
because the
It
only
was
really good example of an acquisition, I think, from Apple is Shortcuts, where they didn't totally screw it up. I guess the weather
true.
stuff was not terrible either, but yeah.
The weather was shaky for a minute there, and
Yeah.
it's still not as good as Dark Sky was, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Right.
It is serviceable now, but
The difference
I
is
feel
it's
like
a
Dark
weather
Sky
app
was,
versus like
yeah.
something you're using to do work. Yeah.
So those four apps, just to close that loop,
Main
someone
stage is one of
found,
them, right?
yeah, Mainstage, Motion, Compressor, and Pixelmator Pro. And
What is
Pixelmator Pro not being on the iPad is actually kind of what got me into Affinity, because I'm like, it didn't make sense that it was a Mac only app in my mind.
mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm like, well, these guys aren't taking iPad seriously anymore. Let me go move to something else. And that's kind of how I landed there.
Okay. Yeah, main stage, that's for live music production, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. I've used Motion in
Yep.
the past. That is a confusing app. I could get my handle on that one.
I mean, hopefully this is actually comes to fruition.
It's not some.
Yeah, I'd love to see these come to iPad OS.
Mm-hmm. That would be nice. Are you looking forward to kind of the more flexible user interface of Affinity on iPad?
Yeah, I mean, as long as we actually get that, as long as
Is there a world where the iPad version is? Because right now the iPad version of the Affinity apps is basically the same. I'm guessing they're going to try to match the Mac version as closely as they can, right?
I mean, they've done pretty well doing that so far. So I'd be surprised if they come out with a dumbed down version of the app, I will be shocked.
Yeah,
Like they seems like
and
they actually take it seriously.
there's a whole API too for the little icons to move those and
Yeah,
remove those. I don't know if they would use that API or if this is more advanced and they can't tap into that.
just looking at the screenshots, I'm guessing they'd have to roll their own. I don't think
Probably.
the built-in APIs will do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm hoping it's as close to one as it can be. And one thing I hope they address, which the version 2 of the apps don't support, is external displays on iPad. Like you can use it,
But I thought,
but
does Affinity not resize? You can't fully resize that app?
it doesn't. And sometimes it actually does. Like it's tapping into the old API. Like sometimes like it'll blank out your other screen if you have it running on your iPad.
I see.
And I think it says somewhere, either in a help document or in their support in the app, that it doesn't support external displays technically on
Okay.
iPad. So
I'd have to imagine
um,
something built today would
you
just
kind of,
be better about that.
yeah, I mean, you have to turn it off basically. Like if you file new an app today, you opt into all of that.
Yeah, because I
Um,
mean, the basically working on iPad OS 26 means you can fully resize your window if you're a good citizen, because there's a
yes,
whole windowing system now.
yeah, Yeah, we have all the foundations for more, you know, I don't know, I don't know how heavily they're pushing Mac Catalyst these days, but like it just seems like Mac apps would feel more at home on iPad than ever today if a developer wanted to,
Hmm.
how much code they wanted to share between the two.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it though. I'll be there day one when they're ready for iPad. Until then, they're dead to me because they're not on iPad.
Do you use Canva in any of your work?
I don't. At work, we mostly use Figma.
Okay.
Yeah. So I haven't actually used the Canva product directly, but just I know of them, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But but yeah, no, this is I'm pleasantly I'm currently pretty happy with what they presented. And I hope I do love their new AF file extension for their that actually
Yeah.
was a friction point. Like you mentioned having the three apps, and that's kind of, when you're working between them, like getting like one file between the two different apps, I feel like there's a lot of friction there because it's like by default it just wants to save in its container, and then it's
Uh-huh.
like I want to save it somewhere. I just feel like that whole save interface has so much, like getting a file to a place where each
Mm.
app can get to it, just it's more work than I feel like it should be.
Yeah.
Um, so I welcome this unified file format.
Do you use the Affinity apps for your thumbnails for YouTube, or what do you use for that?
I do. I completely
Okay.
use Affinity. I will occasionally use Pixelmator because it has the best subject selection, at least
Mm-hmm.
for the tools I have access to. But generally, yeah, mostly done in Affinity Designer.
Okay.
So pretty much everything that goes on the site is through a designer as well. So um, and I'm not a designer, so I do my best, but it's been a great tool for the level of artwork I create.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be also kind of nice to see, some maybe whenever they announce the official iPad version, love to see some more Apple Pencil integration, or them call out specific Apple Pencil support if there's something
Yeah.
they can do with that in the iPad version. I'd love to see them take advantage of that,
Because the
like even
current
just
apps, they don't do
haptics.
much with it.
I think Procreate, which is kind of the darling of the iPad creative community, I think they do more with it than anyone. Um, but I mean, you can use it for the basics. You can move stuff around and you
Mm-hmm.
can write. But honestly, I mostly just use my hands for a lot of things. So it would just be interesting to see them consider that as a kind of more of a primary interface method
Yeah.
for us
And then
iPad OS users.
it looks like this is on Windows as well,
Yeah,
which
I
good,
wonder if it's
good,
on
good for.
Windows on ARM.
Oh, right. Yeah.
but but yeah, no, they're. I was reading the comments on their announcement video, and I saw a few people like, when is it coming to Android?" And it was funny just looking at their stock response, where it was like, we're on Mac and Windows today, and iPad is coming. Stay tuned. It's like
Yeah.
it's not the didn't answer the question.
I mean, what Android tablet is there that would run this? Are you
I
talking
think
about
it
a
would just have.
a folding phone? Is that what they're at this point for tablets?
It would just. It's just Samsung at this point. I think it has to be one of theirs because they. I never see. I don't
Even
know that I've ever seen a Samsung tablet in public, but they
even
obviously sell them.
I guess. I mean, even my brother, who's a diehard Android phone user for forever, he uses an iPad. Like, He loves his iPad Pro. That's what he uses, his best tablet. Like, he knows that. He gets frustrated by it because it's like, different ecosystem from his phone, but
Sure.
he knows what time it is.
Yeah, maybe we'll one day see this on the iPhone Fold. That'd be kinda
Yes, the iPhone Fold.
cool. Maybe.
I wonder how that
Yeah.
whole thing will play out. iPad apps that transform into iPhone apps. I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be so WWDC will be very telling to see if they're pushing like, hey, just a reminder about adaptive UI. Like, we really should make sure your apps are scaling between different sizes just for no reason.
With a folding phone, I'd love so you have the outer screen and like an inner screen, right?
Which is my problem with it, yes.
Can they be active at the same time? I can imagine some weird like board game things where you're I don't know, it's propped up vertically and someone's using the outer screen while using the inner screen to do something weird.
I would assume it would turn off, but I've never used one of that style of phone.
Yeah, me either. Yeah.
I did see Samsung is apparently about to announce a trifold folding phone.
Okay.
And this, I think that's one screen, which makes me feel strangely better. Like, two feels weirdly unnecessary, but like if it's one screen that actually folds, all right, okay.
Okay.
Now I'm interested versus the two screen thing.
I mean, let's have a rolling phone where you just roll it up into parchment paper. It just rolls right up.
I want the sci-fi future, man. I want all that. I want holographic screens and just give me all that.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I think that's about it, right? As far
I think
as
so.
Affinity goes, yeah. The big news. I mean, this is one of the biggest creation tools in the iPad as far as art assets and things like that.
I didn't know where I was going to go if this went south, so I'm glad.
Yeah,
I'm
I
glad
mean,
this
not
is
much
still
else
doing
is
like
out
news.
there in this realm, really, at this point. I mean, a lot of the stuff that was there has been deprecated to a degree, and yeah. So this is
I
great.
don't want to go Adobe. Yep.
Good job, Canva, for not screwing this up quite yet. Yeah. Well, where can folks find your kind of in-depth look at your display journey online? You did a big write-up on that and everything else you're up
did.
to.
That is on slatepad.org, where, just kind of a guide on how to get the high refresh rate stuff working, as well as everything else I'm working on. And eventually my iPad Pro review will go up. That's still in progress, and that's where all that stuff is. And iPad OS 26.1 just dropped. That guide will be there too, and all that stuff.
Cool deal. What's SlatePad run on? Is that a WordPress site, or what do you use for that?
It is WordPress. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's slowly been getting better on iPad over the years. It's still some days just not amazing, but yeah.
Yeah, there's still I was having some struggles. I usually use the web browser,
Same,
but
yeah.
it wasn't cooperating like this. I was trying to do some stuff while I was on lunch, and I had to go to that Jetpack app because it just wasn't, which is never fun, but it is more consistent. But
For sure. Yeah.
I've never wanted to be a web developer. It's never been interesting to me. I should just build my own website, but I don't like it. I don't like web development. So
No,
I don't.
neither.
I went with the path of least resistance. Just set up WordPress.
If Rapid Weaver was on the iPad, I would just use that, but it's not. So I'm on WordPress too. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, works fine.
Does the job. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you again for your time tonight diving into all this.
Yeah, my pleasure. Always happy to jump on.
Well, that was my discussion with Riley, all about his journey getting his 120 hertz working on the M5 iPad Pro and the Affinity announcement. Make sure to check out slatepad.org for all that he is up to. And if you'd like to support this podcast, you can do so over at patreon.com/iPadPros or by subscribing in Apple Podcasts. With that, I'll talk with everyone again real soon.